We flipped our program today to accommodate our special guest schedule. So now we're going to get back to the program. We always have a member spotlight, and Cathie gets to have the spotlight again. So Cathie with Goldray Glass is our member spotlight tonight, and it's between 5 and 8 minutes-ish. So you'll enjoy the presentation, I'm sure. Thank you, Cathie.
You guys are going to get so tired of seeing me today. There we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Cathie Saroka from Goldray Glass, the CEO of Goldray Glass, as you probably know by now. We are here today to, or I am here today to tell you a little bit about Goldray Glass and how we started and who we are. We're a decorative glass company that was born in Alberta way back in 1985. It is hard to believe that we've been around for 40 years this year, but yet here we are. Oops. There we go. When we started, my co-founder and I started the company back in 1985, we were really young. We had no money, we had no knowledge of glass, definitely no business sense. But what we did have was what we would call now, I guess, an entrepreneurial mindset. We didn't know that word back then, but that's what we had. We wanted to build something that was ours. We wanted to create something new, create a thriving company here in Alberta. And so that's what we decided to do. Because we didn't have any money or any knowledge of glass, we had to do things that nobody else in the industry did. So we were out there looking for what can we do with no money and no knowledge. What can we do that nobody else in the industry does? So we tried a few things. We tried a lot of things, and some of them worked and some of them didn't. The one thing that was similar with everyone was it all ended up like that at some point during the process. You have to break glass to make glass, I guess, is what we learned. Through this process, though, we did come up with one product that we got traction on. This is, I think anybody who's in the construction industry and does interiors knows that back-painted glass or opaque glass, either glass marker boards or wall cladding, things like that, that's a very ubiquitous product. It's everywhere now. In the mid-'80s, it didn't exist at all. And there was us in Calgary and a couple of other small companies in the US that were working on this product. And we were able to come up with something that works, something that was cost-effective and durable and able to be used in multiple different applications. And, creating this and creating a market for it is what really got Goldray off the ground towards the end of the 80s. So trying new things in our market, we got a real reputation for the people that did all the weird stuff. And so anytime anybody had a vision or an idea that they didn't know how to produce, they would, if it had anything to do with glass, they would come to us. We got some really interesting opportunities and really interesting challenges that we were able to work on. One of the most interesting ones was this building in Chicago. This is a Burberry flagship store in Michigan Avenue in Chicago. And what the architect wanted to do was create a building, an iconic building for Burberry that had black glass that you could light up at night. Those two things just don't go together. And so figuring out how to do that was what we did with a whole group of collaborative contractors and people in the industry. This was one of our very first projects where we were able to bring a whole bunch of people together. So we worked with the architects, the designers, the steel people, our suppliers, and together we created this gorgeous building. Also along the way, there was a lot of that as we figured it out. With the reputation that we had for doing weird stuff, we did get a lot of opportunities and a lot of challenges. We were able to work on many, many different projects. We increased our sophistication in design. We created new products that that we were able to now get into a lot more different applications and different geographies, and just continually build and grow our company along the way. We found also that our products were suitable for public art, which is the fun part of our business, where we get to be really creative and do things that, work with artists rather than contractors, which is just a different situation. One's not better than the other. The very first public art project that we did was the Firefighters Memorial in front of the City Hall in Calgary. Since then, we have multiple different projects in all cities across Canada and the US. We brought technology into our glass, and I was just talking with some people at Ellis Dawn. This is their offices in Calgary. You may have seen this kind of glass where you have beautiful glass walls and you flick a switch and it becomes a privacy screen, and you can have privacy in behind there. This was one of the first products where we thought, rather than just products, why don't we look at our offerings as a system and put together all of the things that go around that system and be able to now increase our value in the market and also our value with our company. So most recently, we've been thinking about some of the products. This is the last couple of years. We've been thinking about the problems that our industry is facing. And what we looked at were labor shortages, skills gaps, schedule compression on projects, and downward price pressure on projects. And, what can a company in Calgary that has a very niche business, what can we do to fix some of these problems or to help to solve some of these problems for our architects and our customers? And so what we came up with was what the minister was talking about is modular construction. So we've created wall systems, wall cladding systems, where we take on all the peripheral jobs that go along with that. We do the drawings, we do the engineering, we put it all together in a package and we send it out to our customer. And what they need to do is unpack it and hang it on the wall, and that's it. What that does for them, their experience is, as I said before, construction waste is zero. There's nothing that's constructed on site. The time reduction in installing a piece of glass is 10 times less at a minimum than traditional installation of wall cladding. And the labor, of course, is going to be 10 times less. The overall project cost is reduced because of all of these things that we do and we can bring into our system, and yet we still make a bit of a profit. So it's a win-win on all fronts. We've been so lucky in our 40 years in business to work with some really amazing and creative architects and designers and contractors. We've also been very lucky to be able to work on projects for these companies, some of which I think you probably will recognize. And these are, again, all across North America. There's a few overseas, but mostly North America. I'd like to end the presentation and just tell you a short story about my very favorite project we ever worked on. This is the museum at Prairie Fire in Kansas. And I was lucky enough to be able to work directly with the architect on this. And he was charged with building an iconic building in Kansas that fit within the area. And Kansas is a farming town, or farming state. And so they used to do controlled burns in the fields. And so his idea was, I want to build a building that looks like the prairie is on fire. And so what can I do and how can I create this thing that nobody else has ever done? So again, this was one of those projects where we got to collaborate with everybody. So there was the architect, the contractor, glazing contractor. We brought 3M in, who was one of our suppliers, and you know how innovative they are. We worked with the metal people and the stone people. And together we were able to create a building that's like none other. It's absolutely amazing. When you go and see it, you'll know that the pictures don't even do it justice. One of the cool things about this one too is this is a picture of the outside looking in, and this is a picture of the exact same glass, the inside looking out. Which makes it really unique. And what this tells us is we are so much better when we work together, when we collaborate, when we each use our strengths to build something, so much better together than we are just by ourselves. So thank you for listening to my little spiel.